Boom! Hey there, guys. How you guys doing there? So let's just check. Make sure to check. Yes. Hello there. So as you can see, live right now. Yep. Share it, share. Of course. Twitter and Parler. Check. Yes. Boom. And let's begin. Let's begin the countdown. Oh yeah, looks like we're having some troubles here. Who knows? Hold on. We're having some little problems here. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let's be. Let's re-begin the countdown. and boom. So there you go. So what's up, guys? Welcome to Asseylum Justin Villamor show. And uh, like I said, today's the day. So yes. So basically, I'm gonna get my pair here in anytime, like shortly. I'm gonna get him here shortly, and just please be patient. Please be patient. I know you guys are excited, but you just be patient. Uh, hold on. Like, are we having some problem? Am I having some problem with internet connection? Hold on. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Wait a sec. Hold on. How is she? I don't know what the hell is going on here. I don't know. Oh, yes. Before uh, and by the way, yes. So please don't forget to make a donation at gf.me/u/jgkyhk or make a donation at paypal.com/paypal.me/procarebenton2 and also uh, there's another way you can make donation by buying these buttons. As you can see, I'm selling this button. So if you want one, please message me directly and tell me how many buttons you want. And I promise to you that I'm gonna be delivering it to you. That it will go to you. Hold on. We're kind of experiencing things, alright. Like I said, this is not easy at all. Hold on. Don't worry. Don't, no worries. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah. Don't worry. Because this is just a kind of little bump in the road. Like I said, this is just a bump in the road. Seems to be having problems here. Well. Oh, Jesus. And, uh, still having some problems here, oh, gee. Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. Oh, Jesus. I don't know what's wrong with my internet connection. I don't really know what's on it. Oh, not again. Ah, oh, gee, please. Oh, gee. Oh, please. Hold on. Trying to fix this freaking problem here. Yeah, I think we're getting hang of it. Hold on. Oh boy. Oh man. Oh man. Ah, ah, maybe some unfortunate thing happening. Oh boy. Oh, wait, what the? Oh Jesus. Hold on. Be right back. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. So, oh man. Up. Ah. Yo, what the? We're having some problems here, folks. Yes, we're having some problems here. There's nothing to worry about. Jesus. Oh man. Dun, 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 dun. Like, this is what happens after I did the countdown. Like, what the hell, man? The hell? Hold on. Hold on. Let's see. Come on. Come on, man. Come on. What? Come on, man. So I'm gonna send out the link to in order for him to join in. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So I'm just waiting for it. We'll see about that. So yes, yes. Oh yeah. Uh, so oh, here we go. Okay, okay, here we go. So hey there, Mike.
Doing?
Okay, here we go. Whoops. Looks like we're having some problems here. Uh, okay. Hold on. Just having some problems here.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, seems to be good.
I've tried to use OBS. It's pretty complicated. It's got a lot of features, and there's so many settings and everything. It is kind of tricky.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
And this other restream thing, I haven't seen that before. That's something new.
I know. Something new.
That's pretty cool though that you can actually go to different platforms at the same time. That's really cool.
Yeah,
And you can use OBS too with it, so it's pretty slick, isn't it? Yeah, it's really cool.
yeah, I know it pretty much.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the show, Mike.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's a huge pleasure to have you today.
Well, you know, when I met you first at Dundas Square, I wanted to hear your story, and you started talking about freedom. I think that was the first thing that came out of your mouth is that we're fighting for freedom, and I thought right
Yeah.
away. I thought right away, okay, this is an interesting guy. I'd like to hear what he has to say.
You're also an interesting guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess we all have our interesting parts of our character.
Yeah. So as you can see, folks, I have Mike there from Free Speech Media on my show. So I think we're ready to get started here, folks. So we saw
Try,
the constant
hey, Justin,
censorship.
just a second though. Try turning your camera a little bit. There's the backlighting behind you. It makes it hard to see you properly.
Oh
Even
yes.
more. Yeah, it's too bright. It's too bright behind you, and it screws up the exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me just turn it this way. How about that?
that's better. It's better. Yeah, it's better.
Yeah. And by the way, folks, uh, this guy, Mike there, he's the most guy that I ever trust. Aside from Rebel, he's doing pretty much great job out there.
Oh, thank you.
And folks, as you can already know for today's theme, and if you don't, then let me go through again for today's theme. So same as always, As so same as always, the theme for weekdays is we're all essential, no more lockdown, and here with besides me, where faith is essential, and you already know the common theme for Sundays, so I won't even go through that because it's gonna be a huge long time. So Mike, like recently these days, like we're seeing a huge constant of censorship on your videos. Like,
Yeah.
what is indicating for YouTube? Like, what their agenda behind it? Like, what their
Well,
purpose of taking you out there?
I think that it's actually really a sign of weakness. It means that they're worried that the truth is leaking out in spite of their best efforts to hide it. Right? I mean, you know, there's lots of interesting people, and there's new sources of information, and YouTube and Google are at the top right now, but doesn't mean they're always going to be. In fact, I think the way they're headed with this censorship is ultimately leading to the demise of these companies. Really, uh, either they'll be
Yeah,
regulated, be changed somehow into something completely different. They won't have the kind of monopoly power that they have. They're just too dangerous. It's too dangerous to have a company like Google with that much power that can control and influence the whole world. No, it's they've become more powerful than most governments in the world. So it's too dangerous. It's
yeah.
absolutely it has to, their power has to be broken up, and it can't we can't have a situation like this with a monopoly that can basically control the outcomes of elections worldwide.
I know, right? And uh, we're seeing that, especially with Twitter, the constant censorship on the consenting voices that they don't agree with.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's the censorship seems to be very blatant with YouTube, and the other ones it's a little less blatant. They're doing it more subtly. They just shadow ban you, or they don't promote it. But YouTube is really, they've is just they're out of control. They're out of control.
Very much. Because of the Section 230, which grant them a absolute power, meaning that they cannot be held liable.
Well, they're going to lose that power soon. I think that's not going to be something that they'll be able to hold on to. Certainly not doing the things that they're doing right now. No, there's no chance that they're going to have immunity, or they shouldn't, anyways. I mean, it'll be a long process to go through the courts, but I think
Yeah,
definitely that has to happen.
yeah. So, like, constantly, what do you think of the constant of banning your of YouTube banning your videos, and they put out there that it is a medical misinformation. Like,
Oh yeah, of
what the
course.
heck?
But that's the funny thing. I mean, I purposefully put. It says that we're having connection. Okay, well, it's gone. The message said that there was connection issue, but
Yeah,
uh, well, no. I mean, it's just I got my second strike yesterday, so now I'm suspended for 2 weeks from uploading any more videos. But all that's going to force me to do is go to an alternative platform like Rumble, or some of the other ones, BitChute,
yeah.
and
Parlor.
um, yeah, Parlor. All of those other uncensored, at least for now,
Yeah,
uncensored social media platforms. So I don't know. I mean, I think YouTube and Google are just shooting themselves in the foot, right? I mean,
yeah.
it's a sign of desperation that they've lost control.
Exactly. That's how it is. And by the way, Nick, why do you even like? Why do you think YouTube directly ban that video, that your latest video about the video and stuff. And
Oh,
yeah, like they ban it. So why do you think like this is a direct infringement, right?
well, the message is dangerous to the mainstream media and to the
Yeah,
big tech, right? I mean, they're people are starting to question what's going on, and they know that it's not right, right? I mean, the
yeah,
more it's eventually this will spread. I mean, they can't hide the truth forever. They've done it for a long time, but they can't do it forever.
yeah. Hold on, let me just turn on the lights.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And I print out some pictures that you post on your Facebook, and it's clearly stating here what they putting out on your videos. Like they
Oh, really?
they
Well, I
say
didn't
it
see.
as a trend.
I'm not seeing those warning messages. They're putting a lot of warning messages.
No, like they put out a like you
Oh,
already got
they
one.
block it.
Yeah, like they put you on warning on December 14th. Then they said policy. Like, the reason is medical misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
Then yeah, like and it says here that you try to appeal it, but they rejected it.
Well, it's a waste of time to appeal them because they reject everything all the time. Like I don't believe that they ever, you know, actually changed their decision.
Yeah,
So I mean, you're kind of wasting your time appealing. I don't think anything ever comes of that.
yeah, for sure. That's 100% for sure because uh, we have because uh, we have Jack Dorsey and Zuckerberg, like they literally collaborating together,
Yeah.
and not only that, Twitter even said that when they kick off someone out of their platforms, meaning that they cannot go back anymore.
Right. Permanently banned. They ban you permanently.
Yeah.
That's funny,
Like,
huh? Like
I
that's like
know.
sending somebody to jail and saying, you know, your sentence is forever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And
the companies that do that eventually they'll fail. Like Twitter will
yeah,
fail, Facebook will fail, YouTube will fail, Google will fail. All eventually, if they alienate enough customers, if they piss off people enough, they're just going to stop using their products and services. And I
yeah,
hope the sooner that happens, the better. I mean, I'm trying to get people over onto the alternative platforms because I know that there's really no future with YouTube. I
yeah,
think
I
that
know.
eventually YouTube will go away.
Yep. Might never know. And last time I checked on Twitter's market, it seems to be looking down, but I don't know what's the current status of their stock market right now. Like
No,
it happened,
I don't pay attention to any of those things now.
yeah.
I
Well,
don't think I don't think it's a good use of time to check those kind of things. It's a
yeah,
distraction.
yeah. And like especially when they don't care even, like seems to be that they don't care even uh when their stock market goes down because they censor uh people that actually contributing money to their platforms. Like for example, we have Donald Trump being kicked out and the stock market suddenly moves down.
Well, I think
But
that's actually very, very, very dangerous, extreme case. Actually, what they're trying to signal to basically everybody, the whole world, if they can kick off the most powerful, you know,
man,
person in the world, they can do it to anybody.
yeah,
So that's the message they're sending. They're sending, we can, if we can censor Donald Trump, we can censor anybody. So don't try anything. It's a threat. It's an intimidation tactic. That's all it is.
I know.
It's not. They might hate Trump, but the message is bigger than that.
Yeah,
The
it's bigger.
message is we can do anything we want. That's what the message really is.
Yeah, like usually like the billionaires have them has more powers than anyone.
Well, it certainly seems like they think they do, anyways. I mean, it's we'll see in the end. We'll see in the end who wins.
Yeah.
If it's them, then we're in big trouble.
Big trouble.
I'm gonna have to escape to the Philippines or something.
So, have you seen a potential chance of the free speech media being labeled as a fake news media by Facebook? Like, have you seen that kind of potential chance in the future?
Labeled as which? Hate speech?
Hate speech, like misinformation media,
Oh yeah.
fake news media.
No. Well, of course, they're YouTubers are. All I'm doing is interviewing people and letting them tell the story, and they're calling that medical misinformation. And I'm putting a warning at the beginning of the video too that it's that it doesn't comply with the consensus view. So I mean, they don't care, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they're going to censor anything, like even if it's just a news report that they don't like, right? I mean, they have certain narratives that they want to promote, and
yeah,
that's what they're doing, right? That's all
yeah,
they're going to do. Anything that doesn't fit into that narrative, they're going to censor it or cancel it or kill it somehow.
yeah. They love it so much because their money is driving them so much.
Well, imagine, I mean, you have that much power. You know, there's a saying that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah,
And these people are the most powerful people on the internet, and some of the most powerful people in the world. And that's gone to their head, and they think that they can control the universe. And we'll find out about that. I think they're going to be in for a very rude awakening.
yeah, that's for certainly. So, do you think that YouTube will make another move to censor more of your videos and kind of kick you out of their platforms permanently?
Well, I'll try for that not to happen, but it's possible, right? I mean, that's why
Yeah,
I'm already trying to move people over to other platforms because it's clear the way it's going. They're even big channels with huge numbers of subscribers, they'll just wipe them off the air. They started doing that with
yeah,
with Alex Jones. They did it with a bunch of people, right? I mean,
yeah,
so they think nothing of squashing some little startup, right?
yeah,
I've just had it going for a couple of months, right? It's not like some of those guys were spending years and years and years
yeah.
and thousands of videos.
And for them, just nothing. They think that it's just easy to step down and like just a little people, just like a ants that so easy to step on.
Right? They squash you like a bug. And they just wipe you out like you never existed. Yeah,
And
it's but that can't go on forever, right? They're getting away with it right now, but the time will come to an end, right? It's just I don't think that people are going to put up with it for very long.
that's 100% for sure because uh, basically things are changing right now and things are not going in their favor anymore. It's going to our favor.
It certainly seems to be because I think they overplayed their hand with this whole COVID pandemic.
Yeah,
Trying to seize everybody's rights and freedoms. It's sad that I mean it seems like the Canadian government is for sale to China, right? I mean,
yeah,
but China's been doing this for many decades already.
yeah,
Buying off political influence in other countries. They've been doing it for a long time.
yeah. And even they managed to influence international organizations like the UN, the World Health.
Well, I mean, to me, I don't think the United Nations should exist the way it does. I mean, it's the only people that should be allowed to join United Nations are certainly not dictatorships that
Yeah,
murder their own citizens and don't uphold any basic human rights. I mean, they should be ostracized completely. They shouldn't be a part of any kind of. They're so illegitimate. It's a bunch of murderers and gangsters, and
I know.
they treat them like they're some special royalty. It's insane. They're criminals, murderers.
Yeah,
You could, if you actually investigated half the people in the United Nations, I think that probably 80% have blood on their hands. They're either directly, involved in ordering people's deaths, or they've done it themselves. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
very much. And like, my goodness, it's basically too much. Like, when it's come to other type of dictatorship, like Nazism and fascism, like we're seeing a huge outcry in the streets and
Mm.
even across the social media platforms. But when it's come to socialism, Marxism, Leninism, Maoism, communism, like, there's not a lot of huge outcry there.
I don't know. It's sad because Canadians need to wake up. I mean, we are in danger. There's alarm bells ringing everywhere. There's like, uh, it's like there's fire alarms, and it's crazy. But people are asleep.
Yeah,
They're not you know realizing how much danger we're in. We could lose the country, and we could have permanent kind of slavery. Basically, we
yeah,
could become like the Chinese very easily. Very easily.
yeah.
It's happening right now. We're like on the way there.
Or might be even worse. We might end up like North Korea, you know?
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, China and North Korea are pretty much the same, except the North Koreans are even more poor and even more violent and brutal, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they're inhuman, right? The government is criminal murderers, and you know, to some extent, it's the same here, just to a lesser extent.
yeah, 100%. And, uh, gee,
I mean, let's talk about these lockdowns. These
yeah,
lockdowns are killing far more people than they're saving, without question. There's
yeah.
anybody with a shred of common sense should be able to see that. All you have to do is open your eyes.
And,
So the people that have ordered these lockdowns, they have those deaths. They're
yeah,
responsible for them.
It's
They are responsible for those deaths. And in any kind of a sane world, they'd be put in front of a court and the evidence would be given. They'd have a jury decide their fate and they would end up in jail.
yeah,
But we let murderers and criminals and prime ministers do whatever they want here in
yeah,
Canada. It's insane. It is like
um,
a third world banana republic here.
yeah,
It has become that way now. Basically, where the leader, our fearless Prime Minister Trudeau, can do whatever he wants, break any law, and get away with it.
yeah. And if they can get away with it, like nothing will stop them from creating a emergency in the first place.
Well, this is a so-called emergency. Yes, this whole thing is. I mean, once all the truth comes out, I mean, people will see that it's bogus, right? I mean, it's. My mom ended up in the hospital a few months ago, so I was in and out of the hospital probably 40 times in different hospitals, and I never saw any pandemic. I never saw it. I never saw it even really very busy. Either of the hospitals, and I was there 40 times over the past 3-4 months.
Well, that's how it is, right? Like as long there's no one speaking out, unless until there's a little voice there, they can continue with these lies, and they
Yeah,
have the mainstream media going along with it.
that is amazing to me. I just I understand that people are worried about losing their income or whatever the case might be. I mean, but how can they be? Are they all that spineless and are they all that frightened? That they can't come out and report the real news. What's really going on? Is the truth that dangerous that they're so worried about it that they're just rather just look away, ignore it?
I know, like that's the thing, like because they getting tons of bailouts from Trudeau, especially CBC, like they're the ones who's getting more bailouts.
Yeah, well, it's understandable but that's the same thing as when the government gets people on all of these welfare programs, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if they control your income, they control you. They can tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, everything.
yes, everything, of course.
What to think. Now that's the new thing that they're going to do. They're telling you what to think now. Not just what to say. What to say and what to think is the same thing. Basically, if they can control what you say, they can control what you think.
Oh yes, absolutely. They can easily do that by offering free money programs like CERD
Yeah.
and all sort of stuff.
Well, that's the whole idea of shutting down these small businesses as well, right? Any of these independent
Yeah,
people, uh, they're if you're independent and you don't need the government, right? Then you're
yeah,
not going to listen. You're not going to listen to them when they're telling you to do things that are not right.
yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's it seems that there's a lot of cowardly men in Canada. I don't understand it. I never thought that it was quite as bad as it is, but it seems like the decades of social engineering that the leftists have done in Canada has worked.
Yeah,
Uh, they're spineless. There's nobody fighting. There's hardly look even when we go out to the protests. I mean, even the protests in Ottawa, there was only a
yeah,
few hundred people. There was only a few hundred people. There should have been like 50,000 people or more. I
yeah.
mean,
Far more than that.
I know it's cold, but for Christ's sakes, we could lose the country.
I know.
You could lose your life, your freedom, and nobody's paying attention.
I know, right?
I mean, how bad does it have to get? Like, people are going to start disappearing soon.
And be put in these concentration camps.
Well, they've already gotten people used to this idea that they can just snatch you and put you into some kind of They're going to call it a health containment or whatever.
Yeah,
COVID's just an excuse. This gives them sweeping powers to do anything they want to anybody, anytime, any way. That's what they're looking for, and they're just using it as an excuse.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right. And
And you're right, man. The Toronto police have, I think they have lost their way. They really have.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if Raymer is the acting chief. I don't know what's going through his head. I can't imagine what history is going to say about him. And
agree with you. What finish your sentence?
well, I don't know. I mean, the police are extremely important institution. They're one of the only legitimate functions of the government. The police, a national defense, and a court system. Those are basically the only three things that we really need the government for. And
Yeah,
the Toronto police have become corrupted by politics and politicians. And
yeah,
policing is far too important to be corrupted by politics and politicians. I think that the whole organization needs to be scrapped. Like, from the top, needs to be chopped off and
yeah,
start again. Start again. They need to go back to their fundamental principles. And right now, they're just like, they'll do whatever the politicians tell them to do. There's no independence there. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. It's
um,
disgraceful. It really is
yeah,
disgraceful. They're assaulting innocent people that are just out there to protest peacefully.
yeah,
That's no. They're subverting democracy. This is a very slippery slope, and
yeah,
it's a clear sign that the Toronto. It seems like even the Toronto police are bought and paid for by China,
yeah, sure.
right?
Yeah,
What? How else can they adopt these, fascist, authoritarian kind of actions?
yeah.
It's
Wow,
shameful. It's really
painful.
it's. But on the optimistic side, it means that things have to change, and they're going to change.
Yeah,
I'm an optimist. I really believe
yeah,
that once we come through this, things will be much better. But before that happens, anything could happen. It could be very bad.
absolutely. Could be hap.
The problem is that people don't know history, right?
Yeah,
Haven't learned anything from the past. And the people that are warning are the people that have lived in communist countries, or their parents lived in communist
yeah,
countries and they told them what happened, right?
yeah,
Those people are like, their eyes are wide open saying, what's going on, right? I'm
yeah,
hearing their stories, and they're worried. They're frightened.
yeah.
And I'm absolutely concerned as well, because it could go very badly.
I know. It could be. And uh, basically, my aunts, my parents, like they experience how to live under martial law. They experience it,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently, those people that certainly were like those people were certainly born here doesn't know the actual feeling of living under dictatorship, like martial law.
No. Most Canadians have never really suffered hardships. You know, not to the same extent that people from other parts of the world have. I mean, we've been very, very lucky and spoiled and very fortunate
Yeah.
that we haven't had hardship, not very many hardships. I mean, sure, everyone has their own personal hardships and suffering, but not the kind of widespread suffering that you find in communist countries and places like
Yeah.
China or North Korea. No, we've never experienced anything like that. So we don't know, right? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
people are ignorant. It's not necessarily their fault, except they didn't study history.
Yeah. Even they like some of them I know didn't even took history at once in the school life. Like maybe they only took history within their elementary years. They might never know. And
Yeah.
that's the problem, right?
Well, I don't, but that's the thing, right? I mean, let's talk about monopolies again. That's the government schools are another monopoly. And
Yeah.
if you want a poor product or you want a poor service with a high price, uh, all you need is a monopoly, and that's what we have. So unfortunately, the children are not getting educated, and the young people are not getting educated
Yeah.
uh, because there's a government monopoly, right? Every parent should have a choice of whatever school they want to send their children to.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that would incredibly improve the standard of education in the country overnight. They could introduce just a voucher and give every parent a voucher and say, okay, you can send your kid to whichever school you want. That would be fantastic. That would, then we would have young people that could think critically, that know history, that can think independently, right?
Yeah.
But we're not going to get that with a government school system. No way. There's no competition. It's a monopoly.
I know. Exactly the
So
same thing.
yeah.
And I've been talking about this over and over, and seems to be that people seems to be not getting it at all. Looks like that I
Well,
need to be, talk about it again and again and again in order
no,
for
we're
them to
we're
understand
we're
it.
very and we're impatient, right? Because we
Yeah.
want people to see what we see, and that takes a long time because sometimes you have to suffer some sort of a hardship before you're willing to change the way you look at things, or uh, you know it'll open your eyes so that you can see what's happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe we haven't suffered enough, right? I mean, maybe
Yeah.
Canadians need to suffer a lot before they wake up and realize. Maybe they need to be like completely impoverished and bankrupt, and there's no economic growth, or once the economy collapses and you can't buy a loaf of bread, then they'll start thinking it. But it's too late, right? The
Yeah.
destruction, the destruction's
Yeah.
already done. So yeah, we're heading in a very dangerous and dark direction, but I pray that we'll come out of it. I think that we will.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
Absolutely.
is there any of your audiences in the Philippines, or is it all here in Canada, or
I don't even know. Like, I don't know if I don't know if some of my if some people there are really interested on my show. Like, I don't know.
never know. You never know. It's sometimes I wonder if that platform, that one that you're using, actually will tell you. Maybe it'll give you some data and show you where people are watching from. That would be
Yeah,
interesting to find. That'd be interesting.
yeah, interesting.
Well, what I found out that was interesting, even with my videos on my YouTube channel, about half of the people that were watching from outside of Canada. I was surprised. I didn't think that it would be that high. I thought that, it would be like 80% Canadians watching and then maybe 20% something else.
Oh, oof.
Okay, you're back now. You
Yeah,
you were frozen for a minute, but you're back now.
yeah. And this is the most outrageous risk that we have to face because not only that we're seeing a tremendous amount of attacks on the freedom of peaceful assembly, but
Mm.
including freedom of the press also. You
Oh,
think
everything, everything, all at once. They're attacking freedom of speech. When you're attacking freedom of speech, you're attacking everything because all of our freedoms come, through speech, through communicating. If they are able to take freedom of speech away, they'll be able to take every freedom away. That's what people
yeah,
need to understand. That's what people need to wake up, right? This is a
yeah,
very, very dangerous situation that we can't allow it to continue. Um, free speech is a fundamental. Without free speech, we'll lose everything. We'll lose our democracy. We'll
yeah.
lose everything. Our entire civilization will fall apart.
That's the aim. Like it will fall apart. Something that we saw with those dictatorship countries like Soviet Union,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and we have people over Soviet Union talking about this, and they have warnings for all Canadians. And we're seeing Vlad, like he's from Soviet Union, and
right.
he's the most prominent guy speaking about his experience in Soviet Union.
Yeah. No, I love Vlad's message. I've taped him, filmed him quite a few times, and he speaks from the heart, and he really wants the I think he wants the best for people. Like he wants
Yeah,
them to realize, we can't go down this path of collectivism, socialism, communism. It's we're headed in towards a fascist socialist government in Canada. It's already, it's really getting close, and we got to do something to stop it.
meaning that we need to wake up the rest of the population.
Absolutely.
And it's over been a year since this protest began, and we're seeing that it is mostly peaceful, never turned out violent at all.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not true. The government has used violence against the people. The police are
Yeah,
using violence. The police are using violence against innocent people. So it hasn't been nonviolent. It's been violent, but the violence is on the hand of the government
yeah,
and the police. They're the agents of the government, right? I mean, that's what I'm telling
yeah,
people. Governments are like criminal organizations. The largest criminal organization in this country is the government.
yeah,
People don't recognize that. It's true. It's force, fraud, and coercion. That's what the government is about, right?
oh yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
like I said, we could get rid of 90% of the government. All we really need is the police, a national defense force, and the court system. That's all we really need. And then people would have more freedom. And that kind of freedom would generate incredible economic growth. I mean, people would be so rich, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, like, I've been hearing some the most outrageous acts of police, which including like arresting Killian for the third time now.
Yeah. Well, I think one of them I heard was ridiculous. I mean, they arrested her because they thought she was going to breach her conditions. I mean, what is that? They think
Yeah,
that you're going to breach your conditions, so they arrest you, to prevent you from breaching your conditions. What is this? I don't understand. That's insane.
I know.
We think you're going to commit something, so we'll just arrest you ahead of time.
And yeah, ahead of time without even a without getting a warrant of arrest from the court.
No, no, no. See, that's the thing. This whole COVID thing has given a huge advantage to these authoritarians in the police force because they hardly had any responsibility with the courts before. The courts were very hesitant to do anything to discipline the police, unfortunately, because they work with them, right? So if you
Yeah,
work with someone every day, you're not going to go out of your way to punish them for something. And the courts have let the police get away with a lot of things that they should have never allowed,
yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean, I think that really a lot of those officers that are doing these things, they shouldn't be police. They shouldn't
yeah,
be. They shouldn't be. They should be kicked out of the force. They should. They really should because they they've proven that they don't are not capable of thinking independently, and they're
yeah,
just taking orders. They're just violating other people's rights because somebody's telling them to. Right? We don't need
yeah,
authority. We don't need those type of people in the police force. It's far too dangerous. Those type of people shouldn't carry a gun. They shouldn't have a badge. The
yeah,
people that just easily violate other people's rights, uh, arrest them for walking down the street with a sign, handcuff them, injure them, throw them into a wagon for hours, put them in jail, put them in a cell for how long? Who knows how long? How long did they hold Kelly? Kelly was something like a ridiculous 19 hours, or I can't
yeah.
remember what it was. It's insane.
It is. And you know
I
what?
never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. The types of violations of civil rights and human rights. I mean, the last time we saw something like this was the G20
Yeah,
disaster, where the police were acted terribly as well. It was unbelievable. You're right about that. A lot of the police don't have a clue. They just do what they're told. They don't know the law. They don't understand. They don't even, you know. I mean, here's something that everybody should look this up. This is Sir Robert Peel, Policing Principles.
oh
So
yeah,
all of our policing, it should be based about. You know what I want to do? I want to read it to people because it's really important, and I think that if people haven't heard about it, I think they should hear what it says. So there's 9 policing principles,
yeah,
and the first principle is to prevent crime and disorder, an alternative to their repression by military force and severity of legal punishment. So
yeah,
the very first thing is they're saying, uh, the job of the police is to prevent crime and disorder,
yeah,
um, but you don't want to do it by using, unnecessary force, right? And
yeah,
peaceful protesters do not need to be arrested and assaulted. There's no reason for it. It's just turning the public against the police.
yeah,
That's all it's doing. Right? It actually undermines the police. They're shooting themselves in the foot by doing these kind of things.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to go through the whole thing, but I just people should take a look at this. It's Sir Robert Peel, and all of our police services in Canada. They need to return to the basic fundamental principles. And I think, if you ask half of the cops in Toronto, if they could recite the 9 police principles, they couldn't even do it. Most of
Yeah,
them, they wouldn't even have a clue.
they won't.
It's sad. It's really sad. But
Yeah, sad.
it's far too important a job, and we really need to be careful who we select to be police officers.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of people that are drawn towards policing that shouldn't never become police officers.
yeah,
You know, they've
yeah,
got some kind of a sadomasochistic problem, and there's a lot of them. Unfortunately, they're
yeah,
drawn into policing because they like to have power and control over other people, and those are not the people that we want to be police officers. We don't
yeah,
want people that get some kind of enjoyment out of having power and control over other people. We that's the trouble, right? It goes all the
yeah,
way up to the top, to the prime minister. They have this lust for power, and when even before Trudeau was elected, he said he admired the basic dictatorship of China, and I think that's
yeah,
one of the things that he admires most is that they're so
yeah,
powerful. They're so powerful. That's why he
yeah,
wants to recreate the same kind of thing here in Canada, where he can be the dictator of Canada and he can
yeah,
have total control.
yeah.
And
And
that's who we elected that's who Canadian people I shouldn't blame the Canadian people. The Canadian people were fooled by the mainstream
yeah,
media. If the mainstream media had done its job, Trudeau would never have been elected. It would have been
yeah,
impossible. It would have been impossible because people would have laughed at how unqualified they would have laughed at him for even running for the leadership of the Liberal Party.
yeah,
But that's the thing, though. The Liberal Party brought him
yeah,
in because they thought that they could get into power. And it's the same
yeah,
thing. They just have a lust for power. They'll do anything for power.
yeah.
And
And
if that means arresting protesters in
yeah,
Toronto, or giving everybody COVID vaccines
yeah,
for this so-called pandemic, where there really hasn't been an unusual number of deaths overall. If you look at all-cause mortality, about the same number of people died last year as the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that, right?
yeah,
They've done is they've mislabeled all the deaths and called them COVID. Right?
yeah,
People dying of heart attacks or strokes or whatever, they're all of a sudden COVID deaths now.
yeah. And here's the thing. Uh, my friend's great uncle died. One of his great uncle died when they took the flu shot.
Oh, really?
Then suddenly they label it as COVID.
He died from the shot, and then they called it a COVID death.
Yeah,
If you die from the gene therapy vaccine, they'll label it a COVID death. Oh, that's sick. That's crazy.
I know.
Oh, to add to the panic and the fear, they're going to
Yeah,
label the deaths caused by the vaccines as COVID deaths. Brilliant.
brilliant. Like they managed to plan this in advance.
Oh yeah. No. This has been decades in the making. This whole thing has been it's been planned out for 40, 50, 60 years, maybe longer. Yeah, definitely. But I think they thought that they would be able to succeed, but they're not going to succeed. I don't think we're going to get any kind of a globalist takeover.
Yeah,
I don't think it's not going to happen.
not gonna happen.
I don't know. I mean, things are so crazy in the U.S. There could be a civil war, and all the
Yeah,
communists and the socialists in the U.S. could be taken out And if they get taken out, then Trudeau is finished, man. He's
Yeah,
done.
he's done.
You know. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure. And
Yeah.
truth,
Well,
and
there's people in Ottawa carrying around
yeah,
Trudeau treason sign, and
yeah,
really, I mean, it's hard to argue with them. He's not
I
acting in the
know.
best interest of Canadians, and he hasn't been for since the beginning.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what is that? That's what it is. It is what it is, right?
It is what it is. Yeah, and China even went on that their China's basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually do good for their people or something like that.
Oh, right. He says, "Oh, they can turn their economy around on a dime."
Yeah,
But that just goes to show how ignorant he is. He really has no idea how economics works at all,
yeah,
right? He hasn't any clue at all.
yeah,
And we made him prime minister. He's now the most powerful politician in Canada.
yeah,
And as they say, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts
yeah,
absolutely. And Justin Trudeau is absolutely the most powerful politician in Canada right now,
yeah,
or at least he thinks he is.
yeah. Because like he directly served to the crowd, not to the people.
Yeah, well, I think it's gonna. He'll find out. Things are not going to turn out well for Justin Trudeau.
Yeah,
That's my prediction.
yeah. And yesterday, like, I spoke to one of the people that I know. His name is Ivan. Like, I'm sure you know him because like you interviewed him in the same day as you interviewed me,
Okay.
and and he said that on the 13th, that was the day before the Valentine's Day protest. Like, he said that he got ticketed for the second time and he got arrested for the first time,
Mm.
and they put some ridiculous conditions on him. Like his
Yes, of
conditions,
course. They're trying to prevent anybody from going on social media. They want make sure that they
yeah,
don't come back to the protest. Oh yeah, of
yeah,
course, of course.
yeah, like,
Well, again they're just doing whatever they can to subvert democracy, right? People that are
yeah,
trying to come out to protest, the police are cooperating with their political masters in
yeah,
silencing their opposition, right?
absolutely,
And the police should never be allowed to be used that way,
yeah,
ever,
ever,
ever.
and
That's the kind of thing that happened in like Nazi Germany
yeah,
and the Soviet Union and China. We
yeah,
we don't have the police, killing political enemies here in
yeah,
Canada. At least we haven't had that probably for a long time, if ever. I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure if there's actually any historical evidence for the police killing a political enemy in Canada or not. I'm not sure if that ever happened, but I know it happens a lot in other countries. It sure
yeah,
does.
and and uh basically like we have others like Stephanie going actually there on the Radisson trying to inform people that they don't have to remain there, that they can go out, but there's too much intimidation.
Yeah, yeah. It's very difficult, right? I mean, it's very, very difficult. You have you know s- 3 or 4 big policemen, 600, 800 pounds worth of cops, surrounding you, intimidating you,
Yeah,
telling you that you're going to be arrested, right? It, you know,
yeah,
now it's sad. It's sad. Now the police are lying to honest, law-abiding Canadians.
yeah,
It's, it's one thing if you're lying to a criminal, you're trying to get him to make
Yeah,
a confession or whatever. But now
yeah,
it's very easy and casual for everybody to lie all the time, including the police.
yeah.
It's sad. It's really sad.
It is sad, very much.
It shows how far our culture has declined because when
Yeah,
I was a kid, I could never even imagine that. We had respect for the police,
yeah,
and the police didn't do these kind of casual lies to honest citizens. I don't get it. Those people shouldn't be police officers. We really need to clean up the budget for the Toronto Police Service was over $1 billion, a
wow.
thousand million dollars, more than $1,000 million. Does that sound like it's too much? Yes, it
Yes,
is. Way too much.
absolutely. And
But it's the police unions have become too powerful. They basically are able to dictate their own budget. They can
yeah,
just tell them this is what we want and this is what we're going to get, you know.
mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, too bad. It's crazy.
Wow. Easy.
They need to be held accountable, and they're not. They're not being held accountable.
Mm-hmm. And there's a little heads up, folks. Uh, there's something that I must do for a little second, so I'm gonna be right back here. So,
Yeah, no problem. Hey, Anna, come on, come and talk. It doesn't matter. That's okay. Just put it. It's only going to be from here, just your face. Here, come on. Say hello to Justin. Jeez, you're too much. Really funny. You're back. Good.
yeah. And you went even further on posting on your Facebook page about saying the headline is like Google, YouTube, communist, fascist censorship.
Well, yeah, it's really scary. I mean, like I said before, I mean, it's very frightening to think that one company can control the flow of information around the whole world and determine the outcomes of elections, things like that. They've become a national security threat. I don't know how they ever were allowed to become as big and as powerful as they are. Google is more powerful than most countries.
Yeah,
Most they're more powerful than most governments,
yeah.
in my opinion.
I
And
think
and
that
they're
one the
and they're
most.
using and they're not using that power for the good of everyone. They're using that power for the good of themselves.
Yeah.
This is Justin, who I met down at Young and Dundas. My girlfriend Anna wants to say hello.
Justin. Hi.
There's
Hi.
Oh, is he the Filipino?
yes.
Hi, Justin.
So
Hi.
speak some Tagalog.
Maybe he doesn't know how to speak Tagalog.
Oh, sure, he knows Tagalog.
No, his accent doesn't tell me.
No?
Yeah.
What do you speak? Ilocano?
I don't know Ilocano, but I know Tagalog. Because like, um, I I basically learned Tagalog before I went here.
So which one do you have speak then? Bisaya?
Yeah. No, he's a kid
No.
when he got here, I think. He's a kid when he got here, maybe.
How old were you when you came here first?
Around like 11 or 12.
Oh, See, that's a long time.
And which part of the Philippines were you born?
You froze again.
That's okay. Just
Uh,
wait for.
I was born in Luzon, not Visayas or Mindanao.
Luzon. Luzon. We're in Luzon. Sorry, you're freezing.
He's back now. It's the video is freezing, but the
Where are
audio is still there.
we're in Luzon.
We're in Luzon.
Uh, Binyan.
Binyan. Binyan? That's
Yeah,
Laguna.
yeah,
That's
Laguna.
close to Alabang. Close to Las Piñas.
Okay.
Because we went to Las Piñas, right?
Yeah, we were in the Philippines in February. We went
Last
to of last year. Yeah, February of last year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not too far, I guess, from where you're at.
No, not far.
no.
It's just one bus or one jeep, or it depends if it's inside the town. His name is Justin.
Yes.
Hi, Justin. Too bad you can't speak.
You can say something.
No,
Oh no.
he doesn't know much, right? Tagalog, just a little.
I know much. Like, I
Oh,
can.
I'm sure you probably remember quite a lot. I mean, you're already 11
Yeah.
years old when you came, so you would have been speaking Tagalog fluently, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So go and do some chat.
I'm actually preparing something for menudo. You know how to menudo?
Yeah.
Oh, see? And mungo.
Ah.
Preparing something for menudo and mungo.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so you're being live streamed now to YouTube and what else?
Come on, Sydney.
Twitch
Twitch
and
and Facebook.
Facebook, everything. So there you go. You're famous now.
Just joking. All right. Nice
Right.
meeting you, Justin.
Nice
Okay,
meeting
see
you.
you.
I still have to cook my menudo.
Okay, bye.
I still have to cook my menudo. And my mungo. Yummy mungo.
Oh.
What a sweet girlfriend she is.
Oh yeah, very very lucky. I'm very lucky. Yeah.
Come and visit us soon.
Yeah, yeah. When the weather gets nicer, you can come for a barbecue at my place.
Oh, today feels like spring actually, but when I'm coming home, it's windy. But earlier, it's good for walking. You don't need thick jacket. You only need
Now that's
some-
that's a good idea. Actually, we should have some kind of a social gathering for all the protesters. I mean, it would be nice to like a lot of the people we see only at the protest, but it would be nice to actually talk to them. You know, on a different circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you, Justin.
What else do you want to talk about? What do you have other questions maybe?
Yeah.
Or you tell me, what's your friend's experience when he got the tickets and then he got arrested? How long did they hold him when they arrested him? And what did they charge him with? Obstruction?
Like, I don't know, Nick. I'm planning to get in touch with him with that more. Like, planning to get more information. Because,
Okay.
yeah. But he told me the conditions that they put on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to silence everybody. They don't want anybody to they want to try and reduce the number of protesters but I mean it amazes me even in the freezing cold weather that those people come out. For each one of them that comes out, there's thousands more that feel the same way. And I wish the people, if anybody's seeing it, you need to fight for your rights. You need to stand up for your rights. I mean, you can't just ignore what's going on.
Yeah.
It's too important.
Very much.
And I want to thank you because I mean you were one of the first people I interviewed when I came down and
Yeah,
started filming. And the reason why I started filming was because people need to hear what's going on, and
yeah,
the media is not giving a real picture of what's happening. Well, I hope there is other other media platforms that embrace freedom of speech and liberty.
yeah,
Liberty is very important, and people are giving up their liberty for a little comfort and safety. But the government is just feeding them this fear, right? They're creating this fear and this panic because people stop thinking. They don't think logically or rationally when they're panicked and in
yeah,
fear. That's why they're doing their best to make people fearful and panicky. And so that's why they hate people who don't wear masks,
yeah.
because you know they don't buy into the fear, right?
Yeah. That's
And that sets
100%.
a bad example. That means
Yeah,
that not everybody buys into their story.
yeah,
And the reason why they keep banning Robert is because he's an 80-year-old man who's been going to social gatherings every week, multiple times a week, for since
hmm
this started, and he's not sick, and none of the people he knows are sick. So I
yeah,
mean, it's an obvious fraud. It's an obvious fraud, right? Unless
yeah,
you're already sick, unless you're already dying, unless you already have a compromised immune system, you're not going to die from COVID. It's so
yeah,
unlikely. You
yeah,
probably got a better chance of getting killed by lightning.
yeah. Or even higher chance of getting killed in a car accident.
Oh, absolutely. That's probably the riskiest thing that people do in their life is drive. They drive to work every day. They have
Yeah,
a higher chance of getting killed in a car, far greater chance of getting killed in a car than they do of dying from COVID. Like
yeah,
probably 1,000 times, greater chance or more. I don't even know. I'd have to calculate it, but it's much higher. It's probably 10,000 or 100,000 times greater chance of dying in a car accident than dying of COVID. Something like that.
What's that
yeah,
flu thing long time ago?
A Spanish flu.
I think Spanish flu.
Yeah,
When
even
was that?
even back in history when they had the Spanish flu, they never did lockdowns. They never,
yeah,
never. This has
never.
never been done before. Never, until the Chinese came up with this idea of
Yeah,
lockdowns, and everybody started copying them afterwards.
yeah,
That's insane. I mean, China was able to export their fascist, authoritarian rule to the whole world. They've exported their type of government
yeah,
across the world. It's really insane.
No. Finally, one patient said earlier, I'm not
Come and talk
during
to.
the Spanish flu.
Come and talk to.
I'm okay.
Okay.
And then, I mean, she's not getting flu shots. And why would she get this
Yeah.
so-called...
Right. I mean, there are people that are coming into the medical practice, and there's old people that said that they've never gotten a flu shot and they've
yeah,
never been sick. They've never been sick,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it is all about the money. I mean, I think
yeah,
Robert was right. They've got 70 vaccines lined up at $100 to $200 a dose, and they want to
mhm,
put it on 7 billion people. Add that up. What's that going to cost? And the taxpayer is supposed to pay for it.
yeah.
That's insane. It's a huge fraud. It's a gigantic fraud.
Gigantic one. And the most that absurd thing that I ever found in my life when they on the day before the Parliament Hill protest, they police said, "Oh, if you don't move now, you're gonna get ticket." And for what? For basically doing my thing as a citizen journalist, for doing citizen journalism. What the hell?
Oh yeah, no, I've been threatened by the Toronto police. I've been assaulted by the Toronto police. You know, the day that Jim Kerr and a number of other people got assaulted, they were the rebel news media is suing the Toronto police for
Yeah,
the assault that they did on their reporters.
yeah,
Um, I should probably do the same thing. I mean,
yeah,
it's unless they face the consequences for their actions, they'll just keep doing it, right?
yeah,
And they think it's okay to assault journalists, at least the kind of
yeah,
journalists that might actually report the truth. Maybe
yeah,
not the mainstream media journalists. They're not going to assault them because they're not
yeah,
even going to show up. They're not
yeah,
going to show up. So it's only the media that's actually going to report the truth. Those are the ones that they can push around and assault and threaten,
yeah,
right? So you're not
yeah.
alone. I'm not surprised that they're threatening to ticket you or to arrest you. They've done the same thing to me, right? Have they assaulted you? Have they started pushing you around?
No, not yet. Only
No.
words.
Well, let's hope that they don't, right? Because
Yeah,
maybe that Rebel News lawsuit woke them up a little bit, but it doesn't seem
yeah,
like they're learning their lesson. The problem is that the Toronto police have very little
yeah,
accountability, but the accountability problem goes right to the top. It goes up to Justin Trudeau. So I mean, if Justin Trudeau can't be held
yeah,
accountable for his crimes, for the illegal things that he's done, why should we expect the police to be held accountable? Why should we expect anybody to be held accountable? If the prime minister is
yeah,
allowed to get away with criminal activities, then everybody else, I guess, is as well, right? He sets the example for the whole country.
yeah.
It's a shame. It's really a shame.
It's a shame.
And I don't think the conservatives are any
Yeah,
better necessarily. Really, if it was up to me, I'd rather see a radical reduction in the size and the power of government, like a radical reduction.
yeah,
Like 90% of it should go away, right? It's not legitimate.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
people should be free. They should be able to do what they want, as long as they're not hurting other people, right?
yeah, yeah,
And now we have the government trying to micromanage every aspect of our life, telling you what you can say, what you can think.
yeah.
That's insane. It's not going to
Very
work.
much. Yeah,
So I'm optimistic. I don't know how long this will take. Hopefully, it will come to an end quickly. Um,
yeah,
but who knows? I mean, Canadian people are still asleep. They're not.
yeah,
There should be thousands and thousands of people out in the streets. And one
yeah,
of the reasons why the police can get away with assaulting and abusing innocent people is because there's not too many of them,
yeah,
right? I mean, if we had
yeah,
100,000 or a million people in the streets, the police wouldn't even try. They would never try, right?
yeah,
So let's hope that people wake up and hope that people get out there and stand up and fight for their rights, fight for their
yeah,
freedom, because it's at risk. We are at a very dangerous time here.
yeah,
Things could go very badly for Canada, for the whole world, actually.
yeah,
Because if things go badly in the U.S., things are going to go very badly here. That's
yeah.
for sure.
And you put this little warning here, and
Yeah, yeah.
even though they
But it didn't
decided
matter. They
to,
still
yeah,
pulled it off the channel. Yeah, I put on
like
on
that thing,
YouTube. On YouTube, I put that one on YouTube, but they still ban the that video anyway.
video. Yeah,
I thought that if you put the warnings on there that they wouldn't be able to ban it, but it doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want.
yeah. apparently. Like, nothing doesn't matter to them. Like, as long you're small, not as long you're small, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
And that warning sign didn't even matter to them.
No, no, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care about it.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't matter. I mean, if they think that those ideas are dangerous, they'll pull it down, right? And
Yeah,
obviously they didn't like that message. I don't know. I mean, I haven't checked it, but it's already gotten quite a few views on there, on Rumble, and Rumble. It's a new platform. It's so well. Actually, it looks like it's only
yeah,
got about 150 views, so it's not that much, but it's starting, right? It's a start,
yeah,
right? Just like you and your channel. Your channel hopefully can grow to be a big
yeah,
channel, and same thing hopefully with
yeah,
free speech media too, right? Hopefully, free speech media
yeah,
will become a big channel, and people can get real news. Like,
yeah. That's the thing, right? But that won't happen if YouTube will go ahead with their censorship.
wow. Yeah, I think it'll continue until they realize that people don't trust them anymore, and there's no point. I think they've already made all of their big YouTube stars extremely nervous because they
Yeah,
can take away everything at a flip of a switch, right?
yeah,
All the years of work and all the thousands of videos, and they can just shut it off. So it doesn't make sense to make yourself vulnerable like that. You need to have alternatives, right?
yeah,
And I think that people realize now that maybe YouTube is not the future, and I
yeah,
hope that's true. As long as they keep acting the way that they are, if they don't, go back to these free speech principles, I think that. Google's eventually going to die out, and
yeah.
YouTube along with them. Yeah.
Just gonna disappear one day without knowing because people distrust them.
Well, I mean, they were allowed to grow so big that anybody that had a good idea, they could just buy them, right?
Yeah,
So, um, but I think that's going to be increasingly difficult going forward. They're too powerful to be left to operate the way that they're operating. Uh,
yeah,
Early on, Google, that they had a saying, "Don't be evil," but that's what they've become. They've become
yeah,
evil.
yeah,
They've become evil just for money and power,
uh,
right? They're assisting the Chinese dictatorships and who keep their people in slavery,
yeah,
really. And they're trying to bring it here. That same kind of
yeah,
slavery here.
yeah.
It's
And
not gonna happen. But I'm afraid that things may get very bad before it turns around, though.
yeah,
I mean, the leftists are in power, and they don't want to give up power ever, right? I
yeah,
mean, they even had all these election irregularities to win the last election in the States,
yeah,
and I'm surprised that people are putting up with it. And it's yet to see if they will,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they will wait 4 years and then they'll vote for Trump again, or whoever they're going to vote for. But I don't know. I mean, it
yeah,
depends how crazy the government gets, right?
yeah,
If they keep trying to curtail people's rights and freedoms, they're gonna get a pushback. There's gonna be a civil war.
Yeah, 100%. And seems to be that Google just,
Not here in Canada. Not here in Canada. Canada is too weak and pathetic.
yeah,
The citizens, we don't have, they don't. I mean, the men don't have any testicles anymore. It's
yeah,
sad.
yeah, it's sad.
There's no courage. They don't like. That's why there's so few people out at these protests.
Yeah, because of the curriculum, the education, like, it's full of brainwashing.
That's right. That's true. Well, it's a lot easier to have somebody else think for you. If all you have to do is turn on the TV and listen to the news, and they'll tell you what to think, right?
Yeah,
It's a lot
yeah,
easier. It seems to be hard for people to think for themselves. It's too hard. They'd rather have somebody else do the thinking for them.
that's the pretty much of it, right?
Well, I don't know. I hope it changes. It really does need to change.
Well, that's the same thing that I'm hoping for, to get this things changed, because like right now it's kind of posing huge threat to our freedoms and our civil liberties. And
Absolutely.
and without that, like, we're gonna be, like, society will collapse and crash without it. Because by meaning of it, like, if we have no freedom of speech, freedom of, religion and other stuff, then people can just do whatever they want, like, including just censor people that they don't agree with.
Right. Well, I mean, if you look internationally, Canada used to be known as one of the greatest countries in the world. People from all over the world wanted to come to Canada
Yeah,
because the Canadians had rights and freedoms. And those rights and freedoms are being chipped away at incrementally, bit by bit by bit by bit. And so all
yeah,
of these things that we're seeing, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse unless it changes, right? Unless we turn it around.
yeah,
Um, we're heading on the wrong path, and we really need to change that.
yeah. And so, by the
And
way,
so, you know what? I'm so glad that you're one of the people that are making that happen, right? I
yeah,
mean, I congratulate you, really. I mean, I wish there was thousands of more people like you,
yeah,
really.
I know. That's the pretty much side of it. Like, people won't do even their research.
No, no, it's unfortunate. It's sad, um, but it's going to change, and I think it's either going to change for the better or everything is lost. We're done. You know, um, if it becomes like China or North Korea, both of us are going to be dead or in jail,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure, for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Right?
And so, by the way, folks, I will totally encourage you to print out the charter rights, and I have my own copy here. And please print out and read this properly by one and one by one, so you can know your rights and protect
Absolutely,
them.
that's a
Because
very good idea. That because I mean, one of the rights that they're interfering with right now is the mobility rights. I mean, they're trying to control people's travel, and I think Chris Sky is actually right when he said that the reason why they want to control people's travel is because they can, if they travel, they can go overseas and they can see people living normally, and they know that they're not panicking, they're not fearful, and there's no pandemic, there's
yeah,
no plague, there's nobody dying all over the place. It's a lie.
yeah,
So they don't want people to
yeah,
see that, because when they come back to Canada, they can get interviewed by people like me, and maybe the story will leak out that they're
yeah,
if you go to other places in the world, they're living normally. There's no lockdowns. There's no social distancing. There's no masks. There's nothing. It's
Yeah.
bogus. It's bogus what's going on here.
It's pretty much. And it clearly states in the section 2 that everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedom of conscience and religion, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication, freedom of peaceful assembly, and freedom of association. Like, that's all what it states on the section 2 of the Charter of Rights. And it seems to be that people are forgetting what's actually in it. What's the true meaning of it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I mean, even these fundamental things like the Charter of Rights, people are not educated about them, and they've probably never seen it in their whole life. A lot of people, they've never read it, which is sad. It's really sad. We really need to do a better job educating people about their rights and their responsibilities. Right? They
Yeah.
you know. I mean, it's people like you and the protesters that are actually taking the responsibility to safeguard
Yeah.
and try to uphold the rights of
Yeah.
the citizens, right? And
Yeah.
nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is
Yeah.
doing it.
No one else.
The media, the mainstream media is certainly not doing it.
No.
The police
They
aren't
also-
doing it. They're not upholding the rights of the citizens. They're violating the rights of the citizens.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things actually, what you ought to do as a citizen journalist is carry around a complaint form for the police and print it off ahead of time and keep it with you. And so you can easily file a complaint. You just put their name and badge number down and follow through, right? I mean, people need to be held responsible for their actions. The
Yeah.
police, especially the police. You know, they shouldn't be allowed to violate people's rights and then get
Yeah.
away with it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see, people like Ezra Levant and the rebels suing the Toronto
Yeah.
Police Service because they deserve to be sued.
Yeah. 100%. And they their slogan is like is seen on their cars, like the slogan is to serve and
Serve
protect.
and protect.
Serve and protect what? Is it
No,
the
they're
people
serving
or
and
the
protecting the
globalists?
politicians.
Yeah.
They're serving and protecting Trudeau and Tory and Ford. That's who they're serving and protecting, not the people.
No.
You know, they swore an oath to the people, but they're
Yeah.
not protecting the people. They're protecting the politicians.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to make a choice pretty soon, right? They're losing public favor. They're losing, the public is still behind the police for the most part. But if they keep abusing their power, then that's going to change. It is changing.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's changing,
Yeah.
and they slowly losing the trust of the people that they're trying to protect.
And it's absolutely, it's very sad. It's very sad because, like I said, it's one of the only legitimate functions of the government is policing, and it's being corrupted and by all these politicians. It's crazy. They're trying to turn the police into social workers.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be doing that, right?
Yeah.
They should be catching criminals, not trying to re-educate and socially engineer the population. No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Pretty much crazy.
But I'm glad that you're one of the fighters. You're fighting, and I'm trying to just record it and put it out there for people, and hopefully people can get an idea of what's going on.
Yeah. And folks, just a little help there. So I know you have, I know you're asking me a lot of questions there, but wait for a minute, because I know you guys are wondering, oh, if what I'm gonna do tomorrow, if I'm actually going, if I'm going, if I'm actually going back to the Radisson to another recording, well, my answer is yes, that I'm coming back there tomorrow for another recording, and I don't
Good,
give a
good, because
damn.
I hear there's something interesting going on. It should be very interesting tomorrow to see what
Yeah,
happens at the rally.
and by the way, Nick, what time do they assemble there?
It's usually like 4 to 6 o'clock normally.
Oh,
Yeah, if I was you, I would try to be there because I think that there's something happening.
yeah, and what I can tell is there's too much the intimidation with the guest or arrested. I don't know what to call on that.
I don't know either. I mean, it's really sad that they seem to be lying to people at the airport and telling them they have to do this. That they'll be arrested if they don't do it, and um, it doesn't seem to be true. Like Chris Sky was walking out of the airport, and they're
Yeah,
just gonna give you a ticket, but of course the tickets are meaningless, right?
yeah,
They're not.
just a piece of toilet paper to be flushed.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, I don't think there's any way that they could ever stand up, right? I
Yeah,
mean, um, it's just so unfortunate that we've gone down this path. Uh, these all of these freedoms and rights that have been taken away, and all of this. There's been so many deaths and so much hardship that's been caused because of all of these things. Really, the people that are responsible for these lockdowns, they have blood on their hands.
yeah,
They honestly, I think, they should be prosecuted. There's probably enough evidence that they've done criminal. What they've done is criminal.
that's exactly true. Like, it's a huge criminal thing. And
Well, yeah, it's like the government of Canada is the largest criminal enterprise that it operates in the country.
yeah,
That's pretty much true. Aside, well, it's it's sad. Like the Toronto Police Service is becoming like a gang, like a giant
yeah,
gang of. What's that? What's that all about?
I know. Like, what's that all about? Like, is it a intimidation tactic to partly uh, scare people out because just because they're afraid of people seeing other countries without lockdowns or without mask or social distancing, and
Right. Yeah.
I know, and they seeing
Imagine
at the
that.
same.
Imagine that they're so worried about the truth getting out that they're willing to put people, detain them and intimidate them. It's crazy, really. Again, I mean, these people need to be investigated. These are
Yeah,
criminal actions that they're taking, and they're taking advantage of this COVID nonsense because the courts. Where are the courts? What are the courts are all asleep in Canada?
yeah,
Like where are all what's going on? I don't understand this. I mean, it's strange, very
yeah.
bizarre.
I know, right? Like, where it seems to be the Supreme Court of Canada seems to be nowhere to found. They are the highest court in the land. But where are they
Right.
now?
I mean,
Where there's those justices? Where are they?
the government simply cannot justify these measures. And if they were brought before a court, they would be laughed at. There's no good evidence that supports these lockdowns, and the harm that they're causing is far greater than any benefit. So it's just misconduct and malfeasance, and just terrible. The quality of leadership that we've allowed to happen in our country is shameful. It's really I can't. It's hard for me to even describe in words how disappointed I am in what's happened to our country.
That's exactly true. Because absolutely fascinating that they don't even try to hear this out. Where's they're supposed to be upholding the law and their justices, and they're basically they know the law because pretty much before they became a justice, before they were judge before, they were a lawyer before, and where are they now? Where are those justices in the Supreme Court?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it seems like we have a legal system in Canada, but we don't have a justice system. It's just a legal system. It's almost like a racket that's made to serve itself, right? It's like they have it's a lot of political patronage, how the judges get appointed, and I really have no idea how half of these. I don't think they're qualified at all. Like there's such a lack of common sense in the world today. It's scary.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much scary.
But I am an optimist. I'm gonna keep saying it over and over because I do believe we're gonna come through this. It's not permanent. We will overcome all of these things, and hopefully we can make it so that this type of thing never happens again. Really. We should never ever allow a government to do the kind of things that it's doing right now. Absolutely not. It's a very slippery slope, and even before the world wars, if you look at Germany was one of the most civilized and advanced countries in Europe. And it slid into a fanatical Nazi terror machine in only a few years. In a few years that happened. And that could happen to Canada. That could happen. And people don't realize it. They don't think it's true. They don't think it's possible. But it is possible.
Yes.
And we're heading towards it.
Yeah. That's the most outrageous thing. Because basically the government turning people against each other, turning police against the people,
yes.
Hell.
Yeah, but I'm an optimist. I'm still hoping that we can turn it around before there's violence and bloodshed. But I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. It seems like the people that are in power will do anything to keep their power and to increase their power. So I hope something changes, because if it keeps going the way it's going, then it's a very dark future.
Yep, the dark future of it.
Yeah.
And there's even a sign that I saw on your Facebook of in the Parliament Hill protest saying here that we love police, not Gestapo.
Right. And I do. I love honest policemen that are following the law and doing their job. We should all love them. We should all support them. But not the people that are abusing people's rights and violating their rights. Not them. No, they shouldn't be policemen. They should be kicked off the force.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if enough people make complaints against them, if enough people sue them, they'll get the message. They should
Yeah.
get those people out of the police force. They don't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
You know, they're making it bad for all of the rest of the good, honest cops that are actually serving and protecting people. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that definitely needs to happen. We need to have accountability. We need to get rid of a lot of bad cops. And unfortunately, there seems to be quite a few.
Yeah.
I guess the unions become too strong and too powerful. And, you know, even if the cop has got a lot of, there was one that shot his superior officer, and they'd had so many complaints about this guy, and they just kept him on as a police officer, and he actually shot another cop, and the other cop had to shoot him back, and he didn't even die.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you know, what do they have to do before they get kicked off the force? Do they have to murder somebody? I don't know. It's the same thing in our hospitals. You can have like terrible doctors and terrible surgeons, and the only time the doctors will do anything is after they've already killed a few people. Then maybe they'll take their license away.
Yeah. You know, that's crazy. It's crazy. Like, you know, that's the thing, right? Like, doctor first, do no harm.
Right. Yeah. It's changed. Those things used to be a profession, right? Like being a lawyer or a doctor, that was a profession. They've turned them into businesses now. Now it's all about money. Yeah, you're right. You know. But that, like I said, all of those things will change. I mean, we've swung way too far in one direction, and we're going to have to come back. And all of those things, like the traditional values, you know, we need to look back at some of the fundamental Western values that made Canada and the United States, you know, some of the best places in the world.
Yeah.
With the most rights and freedoms. That's why people from all over the world want to come to Canada and the United States. It's because we have so much freedom and we have so much, you know, opportunities, right? I mean, if you work hard, you can succeed here. You know, it's much easier to succeed in Canada or the US than it is to succeed in a lot of other countries. It's much more difficult. It's much more difficult to succeed in other places. In Canada, we're very lucky. We should realize that we're very fortunate.
Like, no, like we should be fortunate enough.
And I wish more people would travel, because then they could see what's going on in the world, and it would put things into perspective, right? They would see how fortunate we are, and then maybe they'd be a little bit more grateful. We would have more gratitude. We definitely need more gratitude. That's for sure. I mean, you can't be a happy person unless you're grateful.
Yeah.
And, every morning I wake up and I say, you know, thank God, one more day I can take a breath of air and I can live.
Yeah.
Because you know, some people don't have that good fortune.
Yeah. And these unelected bureaucrats, doctors, they should be stripped of all of their licenses. Like their license should be revoked because the harm that it causes.
Well, not only that, but they shouldn't exist in the first place. We've allowed the government to grow into this kind of a monster, and it's gotten into things that it shouldn't be getting into. And as the government grows, our freedom shrinks.
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point where there's going to be a breaking point soon.
Yeah.
They chip slowly away at your freedoms, but at some point people will snap, and then they'll say no, we're not
Yeah.
going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can prevent it before it reaches that point.
Yeah. And we're seeing countries with big government, like where they now, like their democracies are gone. Like
Yeah.
we can take
Yeah,
for example,
we don't. I know it. I mean, it's kind of a joke, really. I mean, we have so-called democracy in Canada, but it's not real democracy. I mean, the way the process is set up, it's kind of a racket. The
yeah,
political leaders are chosen, and then we get to vote on them, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's nuts. It's crazy. So
yeah,
the liberals, bring somebody like Trudeau in, and then you know,
yeah,
but the people didn't have a choice whether to make Trudeau the Liberal Party leader or not. It was just a select handful group of people that chose that.
yeah,
So just some powerful elite politicians, political class. We need to shrink the political class in Canada. We need to shrink it by like 90%.
yeah,
90% of all these politicians and bureaucrats should just go away. They shouldn't exist. They should
yeah,
have to earn a living like regular people. They shouldn't be like a parasite of the taxpayers, because that's what they are. 90% of them are just like a parasite, like a
yeah,
tick or a flea or a tapeworm. They're
yeah.
they
Which is
just
the most,
suck the life and the energy and the money out of working people.
yeah,
And people shouldn't have respect for them. They're parasites
yeah,
and
uh,
opportunists,
yeah,
and they're very good at lying and deceiving and cheating and stealing. That's their skill set.
it's too
They
much.
shouldn't be rewarded. They shouldn't be
Yeah,
rewarded for that. You shouldn't
yeah,
be rewarded for lying and cheating and stealing. But
yeah,
it seems that in Canada, if you're a white collar criminal, then crime pays, right? If you're a
yeah,
politician, crime pays, right? Nobody,
yeah.
you won't be held accountable. The police, where are the police? Where's the RCMP? Why aren't they investigating Trudeau?
I
I mean,
know.
there's so much that they could charge him with, but they're
Yeah,
not doing anything. They're not
yeah,
doing anything because they're beholden to their political masters, the same way
yeah,
that the Toronto Police Service seems to be, right?
yeah, yeah. And I should say that same thing with the FBI. Like
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's another kind of police force that should be just disbanded entirely. They should start from scratch.
yeah,
They should just like say, okay, the FBI is done. We're going to shut it down, and we're going to have a new federal police force. It's become too politicized.
yeah,
Uh, and there's two guy agents that had insurance policy. Trump becoming the president.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're willing to do whatever it takes, right? Lie, cheat, steal. They'll do anything. Perjury,
Yeah,
forgery, anything.
anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's only happened because we've allowed the government to grow too large and have too much
yeah,
power and too much control, right?
yeah,
The government shouldn't have this kind of power and control. I mean, they should. We should go after criminals, but honest,
yeah,
law-abiding, ordinary people should be free.
yeah. And seems to that I've been wondering about why YouTube suddenly decides to ban these videos. The title is "Freedom or Slavery." Like, why is that? Like, I don't really understand the logic behind it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was funny actually when they started banning my videos. It was first banned. They would do copyright bans first, and they would ban certain countries. And you guess which countries they were banning? North Korea, China, Cuba. Dictatorships.
Yeah.
They didn't want my videos to be shown in dictatorships.
No,
YouTube.
no.
So what they do is they run interference for the dictators, and they prevent
Yeah.
any YouTube videos about freedom or fighting for your rights or anything like that to be
Yeah.
shown in those dictatorships.
Yeah.
But as long as they can show other videos, maybe they can get some advertising revenue. I don't know. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all about money, right?
Yeah.
They'll do anything just for money and power. Anything.
Anything. And
Yeah.
that's the most ridiculous thing.
Well, but that's eventually what's going to lead those companies to fail, right? I mean, they're morally bankrupt, and people are going to start to realize that. And
Uh,
once they do, then those companies are finished, right?
yeah.
And I mean, I own shares in those companies, so I mean,
Yeah.
I take no pleasure in seeing Google fail or YouTube fail. I take no pleasure in that. I mean,
Yeah.
I want them to change, and I want them to go back to like a legitimate way of treating their but they won't. They never will. I mean, their whole model it's based on surveillance and no, you are the product. They're selling you, right? They
Yeah.
watch what you're doing, um, and the whole thing is messed up. The incentives are all screwed up.
I know.
So, in my prediction in the long run, companies like Google and YouTube are going to fail eventually
Yeah.
because
100%.
people are going to get tired of being the product. People are going to get tired of being spied on. They already are. They don't even know the extent of it, right? That how the database that Google is collecting on every single person. It's insane. Even this is probably getting sucked into Google's database right now.
Yeah.
This video that we're doing right now.
That's the whole thing because they think uh, this thing can go last forever, and they're actually thinking that oh, it will be no problem in the future as long we keep tramping on it, as long we can have more influence in around the world.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
particularly, uh, this is the most craziest thing that the Silicon Valley big tech have ever made.
Yeah, but it was a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake for them because now they're exposed. People are realizing what it's all about. They're losing trust in big tech. They're losing trust in the media. I don't think they'll ever recover. I think it'll be a permanent damage. So something new, something new will have to come about. Um, yeah, I think broadcast television in general is dying. Uh,
Yeah,
the newspapers are dying.
yeah,
It's sad. It's sad in a way because I think it's important that people actually pick up books or papers and
yeah,
read. I think, but sorry, maybe not papers. That's the problem because papers are so full of propaganda and all they're
yeah,
doing is pushing their ideology on you. The same thing with the
yeah,
media. I mean, they're not reporting the news anymore. 90% of all they're reporting is their opinions,
yeah,
right? They don't just tell you, well, this is what happened. They give you their idea of what you're supposed to think about it.
yeah.
I can't even watch it. I mean, I stopped watching the mainstream media years and years ago. I canceled my cable many years ago. No way. I'm not paying for that nonsense, right? I mean, why would
Yeah,
you pay for the nonstop propaganda? It's insane.
yeah.
No.
Like it's full of lies.
Yeah.
They bet on everything. They say that mask can save you, but where's the data?
No, no, no. They're preying upon people's fear and emotion, and they're doing it purposefully. And there's that's why they're going to die off, because nobody trusts them, nobody believes them anymore.
Yeah,
So, and they deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve what's coming to them. I don't feel bad. I mean, they've been misleading and lying to people for so long, decades and decades.
yeah,
And then they have blood on their hands. I mean, they've lied about so many things. The weapons of mass destruction. They've caused so many wars and so many
yeah,
deaths. It's really a tragedy. You know, even the war in Iraq, when they said that there was
yeah,
weapons of mass destruction, and they never found any weapons of mass destruction. But something like half a million people died. Right? There's like millions and millions of people have died all over the world because of the media's
yeah,
lies.
yeah. That's
They need to be held
100%.
responsible. They need to be held responsible for all of these things.
Yeah, and like speaking of the paper, we have the alternative news papers, like the Epic Times, and now we now have truthers who
Yeah,
are
yeah,
actually going
and they're
out and
growing,
telling the
right? I mean,
truth.
Epic Times is a great paper. It's
Yeah,
definitely, I would recommend it, because they really are exposing what the Communist Chinese Party is doing.
yeah,
And yeah, of course, we've got the small papers like you said, and I hope they are successful as well. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Oh yes, absolutely. Like, wish for the success of them, and also wishing for the success of uh alternative people like you.
Right, absolutely, and I'm glad to see that you're interested in it, and you're passionate about it, and so
Yeah,
that's why I'm coming on your channel, and hopefully raise awareness, and
yeah,
more people can tune in and watch your stuff, because I
yeah,
think you're doing a good job, and I really I hope you're successful. I really want you to be successful.
yeah. And guys, just to let you guys know that even no matter what happens, I'm gonna remain a independent commentator, independent citizen journalist. Meaning I will not accept any money from the dirty government,
Right.
and also the other meaning of it, remaining independent, continuing to rely on your generous donations to keep me going here. Because
Right. Yeah,
you
I'm totally with you. I think that people need to realize that it's important to have independent voices, and they, should cough up a few bucks for small guys that they need something to keep
yeah,
going, right? I mean,
yeah,
you can't live on nothing, right? You need
yeah.
to you need to have something. Yeah.
And uh, another thing, folks, if if this Saturday the police assaulted me, guess what? Uh, I'm gonna be trying my best to uh, get their names and badge number, and
Hmm.
kind of consult with a lawyer on what to do with it. But
Right.
If that,
Well, we'll see. I mean, like I said, these guys are order takers, so they do
yeah,
whatever they're told to do, right? And the day that they started assaulting the journalists, I think they were ordered to do that because
yeah,
they were all doing it. It wasn't just like one of them; it was like all of them, right? They were
yeah,
all told to be rough, to be heavy-handed, and that's what they were, right? So yeah, that goes up to the top. That's the leadership. It's
yeah,
the chief of police that's ordering all these things, and it's shameful. I think he should be, removed.
yeah,
Absolutely,
absolutely.
immediately, immediately. He's proven himself to be unworthy to be the chief of police, as
Yeah,
far as I'm concerned. Casually violating the rights of peaceful protesters is disgusting.
yeah. And
So we'll
like
we'll
it's,
see what happens, but yeah, definitely if you can come down on Thursday, I think that there's something interesting, and there's probably some good content for your channel and good stuff that you can put up on your Facebook and such.
yeah,
So at the Radisson on Dixon.
yeah. Like, I'm pretty much sure, guys. Like, you already seen my videos about it. Like, I think I already been there for 4 times now, and that pretty much of it. Like, for the first time trying to get in there, well, Paladin Security, like, we should call them Mayor Brown's Pretorius guards, saying that, oh, if you cross that line, you will be trespassing. So there's nothing I can do about it because it's gonna be a hassle thing to deal with the Toronto police, and they might come to my house to intimidate me. So
Well,
I would not rather deal with them as much possible.
I certainly understand that. I certainly understand that. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, Justin, I wanted to thank you very much for having
yeah,
me on. It's already like 7:30, and I've got to go and have some dinner now.
yeah,
But thank you again, and I
yeah,
wish you all the best and much success
yeah,
with your endeavors. And
yeah,
I guess I'll see you again soon. All
yeah. Thanks for coming to my show. Nice to have you. It's a pleasure.
right, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Thank you. So there you have it, guys. It's a very much pleasure thing to have Mike there with me, but uh, here's the thing, guys. Uh, here's the thing, right? So, in the most basically thing is for in the most future thing, yeah. Let me just move this out. Hold on, guys. So, see, yeah, I think that's much better. But anyways, whew. So what I can tell you right now, guys, is I need your generous donations to keep me going here. And uh, it is, and also yes, 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 of course. Uh, I will be having Nightmare in the future. Yep, I would love. It will be nice. Yep, very nice to have him again in the future. And uh, there's another thing. Uh, so, have you been wondering about the others? Uh, Regarding about that, I already have plans. So, uh, I'm gonna basically check out this Sunday if my only dear friend is available because there's a lot of things again that I wanna talk with him. So that's where we will have to see. And I'm be typing out the link. Yep, the where you can make your generous donations. Yeah. So I'm just typing out for you. Yep. There you have it. So folks, please, I'm pleading with you to go actually make a generous donation. That's the thing where I'm gonna be appreciating it. So, we're coming to an end here, folks. So, basically, it was nice to have my birthday, and it is a huge pleasure to have him today, like I said. And tomorrow, that's where we have to see tomorrow. All right. So we will have to see if I'm able to actually uh actually to do my show. Might never know. That's where we have to wait and see. And I should say that a big shout out to Pale Regional Police. Like they're not order takers, no. And oh yes, there's another thing. See these buttons selling that, selling this. So this is another way you can make a generate. Yep, this is the another way where you can make a generate donation. It's available for yep, available for curbside pickup, available for delivery, and it's order. Yep, I should. It's available for pickup. Yes, it is available also for delivery and available for in-person in-person purchase. So like if when you see me somewhere, like, then you know where we can um, where you can make an in-person purchase or but if you wanna if you want it, like, if you want one of these models and want them to be delivered or be picked up, then message me directly, please. Please message me directly on how many buttons you want, and I will tell you the amount of price. Yep, the price amount of the buttons. So, so if tomorrow is not, if tomorrow is impossible, then here's will be the thing. Uh, all we can do like is move on Friday, yes. And by the way, yes, don't forget 9 p.m. Toronto time and 7 p.m. Calgary time. Kevin J. Johnston show will be live. He will be having a one-on-one interview with Rob Carbone. Yeah, Rob Carbone, the Republican Party of Canada. And all what I can tell you is uh, basically that it will be nice to have a one-on-one interview uh, with Carbone one day. Like it will be so very nice to meet him one day in person, like to know him personally one day. Maybe I should ask Chris Kai. Maybe I should ask Chris Kai to introduce me to Carbone because like I personally support Carbone and uh in the most thing is uh all right. Like, in the most thing is that the most pretty much of it, right? The pretty much of it. So what I can tell is in between this or that or whatever, right? So uh like I said, it's gonna be whole depends on the situation tomorrow. And actually, yes, tomorrow be make sure to tune in tomorrow. Yep, be make sure to tune in tomorrow for another Alex Jones. Well, like I listened to his, I tuned into his show today when he conducted a one-on-one interview with Chris Kai, and it's pretty much absolutely fascinating, absolutely fascinating because uh, basically he's making a huge inspiration. And what I can tell you right now about Chris Kai is he's getting more followers. Well, well. Of course, let me kind let me tell you how much follower the followers that Chris Kai had. So he currently have 129,000 followers. Like that's the most absolutely fascinating ever. So it is what it is. All right. It is what it is. And uh, don't forget that starting from today, I'm gonna be live at Twitch and YouTube. Yep, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook at the same time. And this is how I'm gonna extend my show. So don't forget to make a donation, yes. And hopefully you guys had a good time today on hanging out and tuning in. Unfortunately, we will have to end it. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Because uh, there's still tomorrow. Like, there's still tomorrow, there's still Friday, there's still Sunday. You know that I go live on Sunday. It's became a regular thing. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for paying attention today, and thanks for hanging on today. And also, thanks for tuning in for one interview with Mike Bear. Like, it's absolutely fascinating to have him in my show. And like it is totally unscripted, totally impromptu. Oh yes, it is totally unscripted, totally impromptu. So what I can tell you guys, uh, this is it. So in the most pretty much, I'll see you guys tomorrow then or on Friday. But don't always forget to make a generous donation. And I'm your host, Asseylum Justin Villamor. And see you guys tomorrow. And now signing off. So bye bye. See you guys. Love ya.